Okay, good day to you all. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here and if you don't know me, my name's Ed, and during this unprecedented time of the world pandemic of coronavirus, if you're watching this in like 73 years time, then this is currently what's happening. And I've been training the last 3 weeks indoors, and I've been setting myself challenges. One challenge that we did about a week and a half ago was trialing Lionel Sanders' infamous 3 by 40 minute kind of tempo / threshold workout. Went down quite well, so I decided to do a different workout. So the workout I've decided to do is one that corresponds to Simon Yates winning stage 15 of the Tour de France in 2019. So I'm starting this video today because I know that tomorrow morning is going to be an early start to do this. So I'm going to run you through what I'm going to be doing now before I get into it tomorrow. So basically, Training Peaks published an article in July last year, 2019, breaking down, thanks to Dig Deep Coaching, what the stage looked like for Simon Yates to win stage 15. In order to break it down, I also broke it down into a workout, and I'll show you how I've done that as well here. But in short, the session is quite long. The race that day was quite long. It was stage 15, so that's 2 weeks into the Tour de France, possibly the day after the second rest day. I'm not too sure, but it's around about when you'd have that second rest day. Now, bearing in mind, I'm not going to be doing this workout in the same fatigued state that Simon or any of the guys in the Tour de France are going to be in, so take that with a pinch of salt. However, I have had quite a large experience of racing 7-day and 10-day stage races, so I've been there and done that sort of thing, although I've never done, obviously, the Tour de France. So this is going to be an experiment to see if I can do, if I can first of all break down the session to make it possible to replicate an actual race, and then second of all, is it possible for me to actually do the numbers that Simon did on that day? And bearing in mind he was at altitude, it was raining, and all these other things. So this is the article on Training Peaks. It goes into a load of detail. You just got to search it on Google, you'll be able to find it, no problem at all. But it gives us a breakdown of some of his stats right there, and then almost breaks down every single climb with his own Training Peaks graphs and information there for you to look at, which makes it, let me tell you, a lot easier for me to actually plan and program how I'm going to be tackling the session, because breaking the climbs into chunks, manageable chunks of 30 minutes at 5.3 watts per kilo, or we can actually see the intensity factor, so we can actually see that he's ridden 96% of FTP. We can actually see that he's got a relatively stable average power compared to his normalized power on these climbs, so there's very little variation apart from when he attacks, which that's all broken down as well, so there's lots to go on. So I've used this free software called ZWO Factory, which is basically a Zwift workout builder, but you can also use the actual Zwift platform itself. I've actually imported the session that I created in ZWO Factory into Zwift, so it's right here now. And as you can see, there's the breakdown of things there I've just put in so I can remind myself of what's going on. Very important note there. We must not lose any kind of perspective on this. Big training stress score. And the main efforts themselves are here, the main climbs. I'll break them down when I get into them when I'm riding tomorrow, but you can see they're long climbs, very long climbs, some punches, and then a very hard finish, a very hard finish. Fun fact, but Simon's actual best 20-minute power and best 5-minute power came in the last half an hour of the race, and the race was almost 5 hours long. So I've got my workout out. So a little bit of a disclaimer, like I'm not doing this as like a, this is how easy it is sort of thing. I'm not doing it as an ego trip at all. I'm doing it because I want to challenge myself in some way while we're in quarantine, while we're not able to do things as we would normally outside. And this is just one of those. So I've live streamed it as well. This is obviously going to be posted a few days later after I've done it. or maybe failed at doing it. We won't know yet, I suppose. And I appreciate you watching the live stream if you did. So I'm gonna see you tomorrow morning.
4 Weetabix. Like an underground.
So the break of 28 riders, including Simon, finally managed to forge ahead on the Cat 2. This breakaway had many quality riders who worked well together, eventually gaining a gap of 3 minutes plus en route to the first big climb of the day. So this is it then, when we hit it. So the hard bit at the bottom, which is 3 minutes of 400 watts, this is where the break was formed. The HC does around 6.3 watts per kilo here, but the whole climb averages 5.8 for 17 minutes. So that is the beginning of the end. Okay, first effort slash climb completed. That was technically like the hardest effort I have to make for a while, with the attack into the first couple of K of the climb, and then just sitting on tempo 340 watts for 14 minutes after 3 minutes of 400 watts. It's fairly hard in anybody's book. So now I've got some free riding. We're basically on a descent, doing a couple of sprints to simulate coming out of corners, and then we're into like the false flat valley, which is where the group that got away is now working together. So it'll be somewhat of a spiky effort. I'm thinking of going through the Utopia Reserve, the Titans Grove, because it's up and down, but we'll see. And then we've got some rather nasty like 25-minute efforts at 300 watts or 5 watts per kilo. Where we are now is we've got to the top of the biggest climb of the day, the highest peak of the day. And what happened was it was an 8.5-minute effort at the bottom to just try and split that original breakaway group, to try and make another select group. Obviously a lot of riders are probably sitting on, a lot of riders, yeah, cheers Philip, I will refill. A lot of riders are probably sitting on, but also a lot of riders were probably not so much climbers, so they just wanted to get further into the stage, so by sitting on they would do that. So this is a fast descent now, and the group is still, you know, fairly decent in size. So we're going to get to the bottom of this and straight into another one. But the next one is going to be 25 minutes at the same intensity, so roughly the same block as we've literally just done. But then what happened in the race, Simon Geschke attacked. He went solo on this second to last climb, the penultimate climb, and this is where Yates had to bridge across. And we used the last kind of kilometre and a half to bridge across and use his biggest effort of the whole race for this very short period of time to get across before the descent started. The descent off of that is not as severe, so we will have to keep riding harder than we are now, because there is only 2 of us, and to spice it up even more, Lander actually attacks the peloton on that climb to try and get a gap on that descent. So we've also got the GC riders coming across to us ahead of the final climb. So I hope that explains what's coming next. That was absolute filth. 25 minutes at yeah, I'm gonna drink and eat. That's like 25 minutes at 5 watts per kilo, and then 3.5 minute assault. I'd be happy if that was the end of the stage, to be honest. We've got 5 minutes at moderate tempo, 3:30, and we hit the bottom of the climb. For the last set, 20-second attack from YATES. 4 minutes settling in at a very, very hard intensity. 385, so over threshold. That's going to be hard. It's going to be real hard. And then 18 minutes just below that at 350 watts. So this last block is almost laughable. It's so hard. Like, to even fathom that we're going to be doing this 4 hours and 20 minutes into this ride. It blows my brains. That is tough. That is tough. Yeah, 235 average. And 145 beats a minute average heart rate. You can see where I spent my most time. So you're either going hard climbing uncomfortably, or you're going easy-ish. Yeah, even, I've got to be honest, it even surprised myself to physically conduct half of that last climb. Because the second to last effort was really hard in itself. So this was the race that we did early doors, trying to get the break of form, and then we had 3 big efforts, but TSS 270, so about 30 less than what YATES had. You can see how much that penultimate climb took out of me, like riding at that intensity and then going all in to follow Geshka, and then that last climb was just absolute murder. Absolute murder. I'm gonna actually show. We should definitely get a t-shirt made that says, what was it? Ed mode. We should definitely have that. So there's the climb that penultimate, I reached my max heart rate. I think I pretty much finished myself there. Descent, and then I was able to do that first bit, but I wasn't able to do the last bit. Oh my word. That was some workout, and that was some ride from YATES. I am absolutely done. Absolutely done. Big respect. Big respect. That finish was like so difficult. The penultimate climb was the hardest bit. Responding, bridging the Geshka's attack, and then hitting the descent, and then like going up the climb. Final time, I was fine at the bottom, did the attack fine, but then trying to sit at like 105% of FTP directly after that attack for 5 minutes. It was just like, maybe it would have been different if I had erg mode on, but erg mode kind of takes that realism out of it when you're trying to simulate like an actual race performance. So I learned a lot from that, and it's no surprise really that I faded at the end. Mad respect to World Tour riders, pro riders alike. It's just it's another level but I'm sure doing that effort now, like I have, even though I faded, that will, you know, push me, like, well, it has pushed me beyond what I've done in the last, like, a good few months. So hopefully that will trigger something, and hopefully we'll be able to handle it more. The more you do it, in theory, the more your body will adapt to it. So I'm gonna end this here. I'm probably just gonna lie in the shower for 10 minutes. Wow. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you everybody that watched the live stream. Thank you Mitchelton-Scott for allowing us to have insight into your team, into your racing, particularly at the Tour de France. I just wanted to create something valuable for a lot of people, so yeah. Whew. Okay, stage 16 tomorrow. Alright, so I wanted to recap this really quickly. Obviously I didn't get the chance to do it post-ride for obvious reasons. Here's a quick look at Yates' data file from the left, and then mine from the right. Certain comparisons, you can see obviously things like heart rate is there. Mine is 10 beats lower. Our maximums are roughly the same. Things like kilojoules burnt. Yeti went a lot deeper in certain areas. You can see his kilojoules burnt is a lot more than mine. Normalized is higher. I did fade obviously on the last climb, so hence why a lot of my numbers are lower than Yates's. But it's pretty interesting to see them side by side, you know. Pretty interesting to see the actual intensity of Yates's ride and then the intensity of my ride as well. Is some interesting data from WKO5, and you can see my power graph on the top and then my heart rate graph at the bottom, and it's all about variations. And this is really interesting because post ride or race analysis, particularly for something like this, you can see how my heart rate in particular varies, and because each of the efforts are different, they're not the same, so you can't really compare kind of heart rate drift and things like that. But what you can see from it is that there was a drift at the end. My fatigue was catching up with me, and therefore my power was dropping off. My actual power trend was declining, as you can see, and my heart rate trend is consistent. But it doesn't necessarily mean you know, doing it indoors is probably not the best place to do it. Plays a big part in overheating and losing a lot of water through sweat. The cooling effect of outdoors plays a bigger difference. So yeah, pretty interesting.